the Shaqs from Payless.
Yeah.
Those, man.
Dang, Shaqs from Payless.
The Patrick
I couldn't do
Ewings.
it. I couldn't do it.
I did it. I did it.
Chizzy was a big Shaq shoe guy. You had those Shaqs from Payless, bro?
I had on Shaqs from Payless.
Bro.
I actually have a story about that, man. You know, we played on Blacktop.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
So Blacktop got hot. Yeah. Like real hot. So one day I'm playing ball. I'm playing ball. You know what I'm saying? And I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
At one point, I've been standing in the same spot for a second.
Feet's on fire.
And I go up to grab a rebound and the soles of my shoes stay on the ground.
Word?
They stay on the ground. So, yeah, I got roasted that day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You got to prepare me, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that, man. You got to tell people before that.
You know, it's crazy, man. I told my students that same story.
Bro.
And they have not let it go.
Shouts out to Shaq Shoes.
Yeah, man.
What's up, family? It's your boy, Coach Crump, with the Boy Man King podcast with my boy Chizzy.
What's good on Crumpy? Always a pleasure, man.
Good to
Let's
see
get
you,
it,
man.
Let's get it.
And we got a special guest today.
Yes, sir.
Rich Work Finest.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Jason
in
Richards
the building.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bucket Extraordinaire. Mr. PG with a 3. Holla at the people, man. What's good, fam?
Good, man. I'm glad to be here, man.
Hey, man,
Yeah,
it's
man.
good to have you. It's good to have you on our cast and our podcast, Boy Man King. We're so honored to have you as part of, our journey. As we were talking about overlong, the journey continues, and we're here to just talk about Boy Man King, kingship, how we transition, how we doing. Let's kick it right off, man.
Yeah.
Jason, my good friend's name Jason.
Yeah.
Also, his a hooper as well.
Oh, yeah?
We have a lot in common as it relates to basketball.
First of all, before we get started, Jordan or LeBron? It's very important. Before we go somewhere else, this is important because it determines if he stays on the podcast.
You pause for a second.
As far as the GOAT, I'll go Jordan.
Okay, we can continue.
Yeah.
Okay. We need to go.
But let me add something to that. If I'm building a team, though, I know that LeBron's gonna make everybody better. But I know I need an assassin like Jordan, though.
All right, I say this as a retired killer myself, right?
A retired killer.
Chizzy,
Self-proclaimed retired killer.
No.
Anyway, go ahead. I'll give you that flower.
So Chizzy can attest to this, right?
Yeah.
We're at Bermuda National Team. I'm yelling out guys' names. I'm calling guys out. I think guys discredit the Michael Jordans and the Kobes of them building them teams, mental and fortitude to be a champion for a decade with that talent, with that mentality, like, because you force it, you will it in practice. Because that was my thing was Jordan to punch you in the face. You never lose a sprint. You never let somebody outpush you. You never let somebody beat you in one. So when I played the Bermuda National Team, I'd be like, okay, we playing ones, but we're going 11. Nobody can score 5. Or we're playing 21. I'm only going to shoot left hand. I'm only going to shoot threes leaning to my left side. I can't beat you. I have to dominate you so that all of my peers knew who was going to get the ball.
Sure.
Like my teammates never argue out, but let me get it.
Yeah.
I made sure I killed you so much in practice that I killed you on the Kilimanjaro run that I made sure I lapped everybody. So that's like, we can't question that he ain't outworking all of us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, and I know that brings every player on my team. Now, I don't have not one special handshake for a teammate.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have the running shoulder bump. But I'm going to kill you so much in practice. And the competitor in you is going to be so mad at that it's going to make you practice harder because you don't want that to keep you don't want that to keep happening. So what happens? We win multiple gold medals. But a small island, even though islands was 3 times bigger than us.
All of that to say that there is a level of intentionality that comes with being a champion in terms of your ability to make people around you step their game up.
Understood.
We can't say that with LeBron right now. That's what I'm saying. Like,
oh man.
But because I'm saying they looking at his skill set. Cool.
Yeah.
But there's a certain mentality you got to bring in and day out.
Take
that
your head
requires.
off. Yeah.
So
We
Like
digress.
I said, Jordan's the GOAT. I'm not going to
Yeah,
argue.
yeah.
that
Okay,
at
cool.
all.
Because I was like, I got the
argue
wrong
that
guest
at all.
list. All right. But going back to Chili's question.
Yeah,
My
man.
bad.
So Jason, man, you're a hooper. Of course, we all hooped at various levels. Tell us a little bit about growing up. You said you were born in Queens,
Yeah.
and you moved to Jersey and Atlanta. Give us a little scope of what life was like when you growing up in Queens. What was the family life like? Parents. What were you internalizing as a young person growing up in Queens, and how was that shaping who you are today?
Well, to be fair, I have to say that I was born in Queens, and I was probably there for like maybe my first 2 years of life, and then we moved to Long Island. So that's the place that I kind of have more memory of. But as far as Long Island, man, my parents were very intentional in where they were going to allow me to be.
Okay.
The school district that I was in, they were like, he's not going to that school.
Right.
So we actually we worked something out so that I could use someone else's address to get into a better school.
Okay.
So I was at the better school. It was called Grand Avenue, and I was there for K through 4.
Was this a private Christian charter?
Public school?
Just a regular public school. It was just better than the school that.
Better in what? When you say better, paint the picture for us, because
Okay, so if I could, it was in a better neighborhood.
okay,
The kids in my neighborhood were a little tougher. Let me just put it like that.
when I think of Long Island, I think of a big Italian community.
Big
Am I
Italian.
I'll say we
Long
were,
Island?
We were in Hempstead.
Am I correct? Long Island?
I don't know that side.
No, or am I saying Staten Island? Because
I don't know
Long
that
Island has a
Wherever you are, you lost. But
no, man, no. I
was in
swear,
Hempstead.
Long Island. Anytime you hear of a gangster movie,
Whoa.
Italians. So Long Island is a big hub for the Italian community. I swear, we'll Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Google.
I
all the answers about his neighborhood when he was a child.
I may have.
Let you. I would believe whatever you say about your childhood. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known too much about that. I kind of stayed on my block, and
Right.
like I said, my parents set boundaries for me because they knew what I was around more than I did. Because obviously, I didn't know how bad my neighborhood was until I moved out. If I'm
Okay.
being honest with you, but you know, I always grew up different than my friends. Like my friends could stay out as late as they wanted.
Right.
I was inside by the time the street lights came on.
Okay.
So your mom and so you was raised with your mom and dad your whole life.
Yes, my mom and dad was there the whole time.
So
No.
separate of that, the school, the neighborhood, the block, was church also a big part?
Church every Saturday, every week. We were there all day.
Kind of help some of our viewers who hear church Sunday for
Right.
Sunday.
I was gonna say
Kind of break down the Saturday church for everybody.
All right, so I mean, I grew up observing the Sabbath from Friday sunset to Saturday sunset.
7-day Adventist.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of the things that were happening on Friday nights, I always had to be like, you know, it's the Sabbath, so I can't go.
Right. You can't.
You know, so we observe the Sabbath, wake up, go to church, go to Sabbath school. Sabbath school was probably like the most fun I had in church. Sabbath school starts at 9:30 in the morning. Divine hour is at 11, and then after divine hour, there's always a place to eat afterwards, and then we got AY after that, which is just the Adventist Youth Society.
Okay.
That was for the kids. And in between that, we were running, playing tag. It was just good, clean fun with trusted people.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I grew up in a church where if someone caught you doing something wrong, they had the authority to, you know what I mean, correct you.
Right.
Which is something that I feel is lost today. Everyone
you-
is just
and you
like,
grew
don't
up-
touch my kid, you know?
Yeah. And did you grow up that your entire life?
Yes.
Okay, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
So
What caused the move? Sorry, not to cut. What from Queens to Long Island to Jersey? was it just parents just said, all right, we'll just get, like, what was it moving around, if you don't mind me asking?
So a lot of times the moves were just them wanting to be in a better situation and put their kids in a better situation. Both of my parents work full time as teachers.
Okay.
So when they saw something that, you know, could put us in a better situation, they would jump on it. We started off living in a basement. And after that, you know, they got the opportunity to get a house in Long Island. And then I think we went down to New Jersey just to visit someone one day, and we found out that the houses down there were cheaper than the ones in New York. So we were just like, okay, let's move to Jersey.
Sure.
And then New Jersey, we was there for like 8 years.
Okay.
Dang, why you said? I was like, bro, like an 8 like that. Them years took you out, bro. Like, what happened in Jersey?
Man,
He was like Jersey. He was like, they were like 8 years.
so I grew up. I feel like I just saw something different in my friends. I was the type of person that I've never been the type to bully anyone. I hated the fact that some kids were bullied.
Yeah.
When I moved to New Jersey, the first year was really hard because I'm coming from a place where don't no one care about what you're wearing.
How old were you then?
Say again?
How old were you when you moved to Jersey?
I moved to Jersey when I was 11.
Okay.
Oh, that's that time.
Yeah.
It's go time.
Yeah,
You about to get roasted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Got to Jersey first week of school. They're checking the tags on my T-shirts, and I'm like, "Well, we don't do this in New York. What's going on?" And I didn't even know what the name brands were,
Right.
you know, because I grew up. I was wearing cross colors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cross colors was it.
This was definitely, listen, what I do know now, you were in the 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
What I do know, you was in the 90s.
Bro, I was rocking cross colors. I get up to New Jersey and they're like, "Oh, it's Tommy Hilfiger, it's Chaps, it's Nautica," and I'm just like,
Polo.
Polo.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah,
what
yeah.
is this? Timberland boots. I'm like, man, I used to shop at Payless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Payless, like for real, like the Shaqs from Payless. I
Yeah,
used to
yeah,
rock
yeah.
those, man.
Dang, Shaqs from Payless.
The Patrick
couldn't do
Ewings.
it. I couldn't do it.
I did it. I did it.
Chizzy was a big Shaq shoe guy. But
Yeah,
bro,
I had
couldn't
him.
do it, bro.
I had him.
I couldn't do it. I mean, dang, Jason, bro. You had those Shaqs from Payless, bro.
I had on Shaqs from Payless.
Bro.
I actually have a story about that, man.
Yeah, listen. I'm an okay Christian man now.
Yeah.
But as
You would have roasted me, right?
bro,
Okay, Christian man now.
bro, if you would have worn Shaqs,
Roasted.
Bro.
Easily.
I would have gave it to you so bad.
What you was
bro.
wearing back then?
Bro, not no Shaqs, bro.
Answer the question, bro. What
man.
you wearing back then?
Reeboks, Nikes, like it was basic feelers, like
okay.
you know, you made and was the Reebok Classic boys had their
Yeah.
phase, maybe the gum bottom boys.
Right, but you gotta also remember like different areas of the states had the swag.
Listen
You know
to
what I'm
me,
saying?
listen to me. All right, different areas of the states had their own swag.
Yeah.
Shaq shoes from Payless was never part of any of those parts.
Hey, man, you could have told me nothing about my Shaq shoes,
Man, hey, listen, man, you a humble dude, bro.
Hey,
Like,
look.
hey, so they taking you out. They roasted you. You got on Shaqs from
they
Payless.
got me.
Cross colors.
I can only imagine. Cross colors and Shaqs. Were you traumatized, bro? Like what? Like what
know what's
happened? What's the
crazy?
story? What's the Shaq story? What's the Shaq story?
So the Shaq shoe story. You know, we played on blacktop.
Facts.
So blacktop got hot.
Yeah.
Like real hot. So one day I'm playing ball. I'm playing ball. You know what I'm saying? And I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
At one point, I've been standing in the same spot for a second.
Feet's on fire.
And I go up to grab a rebound and the soles of my shoes stay on the ground.
Word.
They stay on the ground. So yeah, I got roasted that day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, jeez. You gotta prepare me, bro.
Yeah.
You can't do that, man. You gotta tell people before that.
You know, it's crazy, man. I told my students that same story.
Bro.
And they have not let it go.
Shouts out to Shaq shoes.
Yeah, man.
Shaq shoes.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't.
I'm going, bro. Oh, man.
But in a way, that kind of shaped my thought process on what it meant to be joked on. Because they see it as jokes, man. But you know what I'm saying? That really hurt my feelings.
Of course.
You know what I'm
As
saying?
an 11-year-old.
At that time,
of
that
course.
really hurt my feelings. I'm like, bruh. So when
That's
I
a
moved,
traumatic experience for an
Yeah.
11-year-old, bro.
it is. But I kind of used it, and I feel like I did something better with it than most people.
Right.
I sought out to make sure that people around me didn't feel like that. You know what I'm saying? So when I moved to Jersey, I met a kid named Chris. Chris was probably joked on more than anyone I've ever seen.
Right.
He was the type of kid to come in, shirts tucked in.
He's talking about you?
Button the shirt all the way up. You know what I'm saying? His lips was always ashy.
Jeez, did he ever?
And I moved to the school, and I saw this kid. I was in the 6th grade at the time, and I was just like, nah, I can't let this kid just be by himself.
Right. Yeah.
So I tried to help him. I tried to be like, yo, take your shirt out your pants, man. He was just like, nah, this is how my mom taught me to dress. This is what it's gonna be. And I had so much respect for Chris. I can't even remember his last name. I would look him up on Facebook or something, but I had so much respect for Chris, and at the same time, I was just like, I'm not going to let you go through the 6th grade by yourself. So because Chris was being joked on, I was being joked on.
Right.
Plus, I didn't know what I was supposed to be wearing. And then when I did find some stuff, I was like, okay, I found some Nautica shirts, some Tommy Hilfiger shirts. I found out that they were fake. I'm just like, man, I can't even win, bro.
Bro, you went to the thrift stop, bro.
Yeah, I didn't know where to get the stuff.
Not the flea market, bro. You supposed to go to the actual mall store. Everybody knows that play in the 90s. Everybody was getting over at the flea market.
Yeah,
Don't go to the flea market to get Nautica, bro. It is not real.
Yeah.
That is
my
funny.
whole thing is like, why are you so locked into a brand that you know exactly what to look for?
You remind me of my kids. I say this all the time. Like I admire my children because they're not insecure.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very rare to see teenage kids. Well, back in my day, that we wasn't just roasting people nonstop because you felt like you had to defend yourself. And for you to be in 6th grade, wearing Shaqs, and you like, I'm gonna protect another kid from being bullied. Like that's not the modality of 11-year-old.
And you found a level of comfort there, obviously.
Yeah.
With this other kid.
But you're not related to him. You just felt the responsibility. Like that speaks a lot to you, bro.
Sure.
Yeah. But where did that come from?
Honestly, I feel like I always wanted to be treated fairly. And since I wasn't, if I could help someone else be treated fairly, then I was going to do it. Like, period.
Did you ever physically lash out during those times? And that when you first moved on her, being ostracized as a kid, what was that like socially for you? Like, obviously you vibe with Chris, but outside of that, like, did you ever have your moment where you kind of was like, I'm not taking this no more?
I had a pretty bad temper, but I never got to the place where I was ready to actually put hands on someone.
Right.
If you put your hands on me, I was very capable of defending myself. My parents made sure that I knew how to do that.
Okay.
So no one ever really stepped to me because I wouldn't back down.
Right.
I was the type of person that if you're talking trash and you get real, real close to me, my dad always taught me, put your hands in front of you and don't say nothing. So that's the way that I am. So they're talking, they're screaming, and I'm very calm, I'm very quiet, and I'm watching your hands at that point. So I was kind of calculated at a young age, very calculated. I would call it that.
Yeah. So we're here. So and what's that? Middle school.
Middle school time.
Yeah.
That's middle school right now. A lot going on in middle school.
A lot going on. And we're stuck at middle school because of the Shaqs. The Shaqs
let the Shaq thing go.
I know you're not going to let go of the Shaqs.
Emotionally, where you are.
Bro, the visual of him having those Shaqs stuck on that flat top, bro, when he jumps up for a rebound. The vision that's in my head, bro, is taking me out.
Smoke coming from the feet.
Smoke. White socks on.
White socks on.
And did your socks have holes in them? Like, it's just a lot of questions.
No holes.
Okay,
we had the striped socks back then. The white socks with the stripes on it. Yeah.
Academically, you was pretty sound though for middle school, because that's a lot to deal with as a middle schooler. Because already in middle school, you're trying to navigate your individuality and who you are as a person as you become a preteen, and that's a critical time
Yeah.
for a man, especially now you've moved in a different neighborhood, different surrounding, different circumstance. That's why I asked you, did you actually kind of have a lash out moment or things that caused you to kind of step outside of character? But it sounded like you kind of dealt with that internally quite well. How was middle school for you across the board? Outside of that experience, did you socialize? Eventually, did you get kind of brought into the inner circle, so to speak? You always was on the outskirts in middle school.
In middle school, I was quiet. I was real quiet. By this time, Chris had moved. He didn't go to middle school with us.
Yeah.
So by the time I got to middle school, I was quiet. One of those type kids who just kind of sat in the back and listened. Didn't raise my hand even if I had a question. Right. I was just really reserved.
And you're still going to public school?
Yeah, I went to public school my whole life. Never went to a private school.
And yeah. I mean, obviously, from the short time that we're talking, I can see that's part of who you are.
Yeah,
part of your character, part of your demeanor, reserved.
Yeah,
quiet. Did you see? So middle school, you kind of skated under the radar.
Very much so.
Very much so. Not quite sociable, I would imagine.
When Hooper came in, I mean, I know you was traumatized by the Shaqs in sixth grade, but you still had to be back on the court.
Even when it came to hooping, man, I grew up in a neighborhood where there were so many kids that played my position, and they knew people. As far as I was concerned, I didn't play for the middle school team. I didn't even try out. Yeah. The issue was the Sabbath keeping.
I'm about to say so many.
Because the games are Friday nights.
I'm intimately involved with
Friday nights.
Oh, okay.
like everything was Friday and Saturday. Like, even Bermuda, I'm like, man, a lot of kids literally cannot do the things they probably was born a passion or desire to do, because that was a challenge. You know what I mean? Because and I hate to go here, but I think it's appropriate to go here. Like, I think that's where my theological, I couldn't get past Romans 14, I guess. Like, I've always struggled with that, because it's like.
But for those who don't know what Romans 14 is.
Yeah, so Romans 14, as Christian, remember there was no such thing as Christian in the Old Testament. Old Testament is strictly the law.
Yeah.
Right? Christ came to fulfill the law.
Sure.
So now the New Testament was really just talking about, everything that the Hebrews, that the Muslims, that the Jewish, that everybody follows, they followed the law to the T. But Jesus was just like, but nobody's really built to follow it. So I'm going to have to die to give all y'all grace. Yeah. Because I'm the only one who's pure in this respect. So no matter how much you teach it, no matter how you show it, people are going to need grace. So it gets to at the empire of the day was Rome.
Sure.
So after we talk about the synoptics, the gospels, the stories of Jesus, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you get to Romans. Yeah. And it gets to the part about talking about this legality of religion. Like now that Christ has came, how does this legal aspect of this play out, that you tell people how to have a relationship with Christ? And this is where things get muddy, because the thing is personal, but you're telling me how to do it. Right. So that's when he's like, look, some people going to worship a day. Some people going to have one day special. Some people going to have certain food special. Some people say all the food the same. It's between them and God. And it's not your job to tell them what their relationship with God is like. Right. It is hard to avoid the breakdown of chapter 14 in Romans, where he's really breaking down legality is not the priority. Yeah. What's the priority is a personal relationship with me, so that I'm convicted because I made you, and I only made one of you, and I made you to do a certain thing. So I've always struggled, me as a theologian, as an ordained minister, as a preacher, as a teacher of the gospel, I see institutional control in the sense of people avoiding certain parts of scripture for the purpose of keeping a narrative on a certain group or segment of population. So it's a challenge for me, because I see a kid who loves something, who has an opportunity, but is in a legality situation, religious-wise, that doesn't allow them to have
that full experience.
That I war with that. Yeah. I war with that. But that's a personal thing, so I don't parade it to the masses.
Is that something you struggle with, in spite of you being Seventh-day Adventist? Did you find yourself saying, "Man, I just want to hoop on Friday. I just want to practice," or is this something?
So I didn't necessarily struggle with it because I feel like because of my decision to be all in on what I was being taught, that certain opportunities were given to me.
Right. Yeah.
At the church, we had a team.
Okay.
The church team was legit.
Right.
And we played all over New Jersey.
Okay.
We went to Philly, we went to Camden, we went to Mount Laurel, Mount Holly, all those places. So we got a chance to play. People got the chance to see me. I was always starting point guard, even though later on in my life I realized that just wasn't my position, but I was short. So they put the ball in my
what
head.
it matters, right?
You know what I'm saying? It's like you're short and you talk. So, and that's, like I kind of found myself in basketball because that's the one place that like I was loud. Like I, in class, quiet. Put me on the court, I'm talking. And if I get into it with someone, you see a whole nother side of me. You know what I'm saying? Even now. You know what I'm saying?
That sound like me, bro.
No, no,
That don't sound like me.
no, it doesn't sound like you at all. But to be honest, I'm even a little bit shocked on the episode right now because I'm like, yo,
this guy's reserved and quiet. The basketball coach is a maniac.
He's being like the nicest person in the world.
Jekyll and Hyde almost. Huh?
But I'm like, I'm like, the only time I've been really rocking with Jay, we always been in the gym.
Exactly.
He's like a leader of men, a leader of kids. He's the voice in the gym. So I'm like, yo, come through on, because I know him.
Yeah.
Right.
From now, he's like, everything. I'm like, the Casanova. I didn't know the Casanova version. You know what I'm saying?
But to kind of make that connection, that's kind of why the fact that at times I did feel it was unfair that, because of my religion, I was unable to do certain things. I felt like I stuck with it because I wanted to build that for the next group of kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we talked about that too, and I respect it. And I think that's the healthy conversation piece where there is no wrong way when you're doing it for the goodness of people and God. Like there is, like what I'm not trying to stop anything from anyone. I'm just saying, stop telling people there's only one way to get to them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel you.
Like organizational wise, there's only one way that you can have a relationship with Christ.
Yeah.
You can have a relationship with Christ in the swamps, in the slums, and with no tech, with no building, with it don't. To me, there's no legality needed before you get to Him.
Yeah,
you can get to Him without the legality. But that's anyone.
Yeah.
But I was just saying, because it was so prevalent where I reside in Bermuda, I got a chance to have some experiences with kids, and they wasn't in a space where, and I was ignorant to some things. I'm not gonna act like, bro, don't get me wrong. I had to go and search. I had to go ask questions. Like it wasn't like I was like, this is right, this is wrong. I was like, I gotta go study this.
Right.
Because people are that's what they believe, and they have their reasons. So let me study why. Let me study this. So I was I'm going to study Kojic, AME, Adventist, atheist. I want to get an understanding why all of y'all are so absolute on this is the way. Even the Jewish about their conflict with Christians. Like,
I mean, we know the source of religion versus relationship. There's a big difference. So what you're speaking to is religion and the structures of religion as opposed to the relationship that you get with Christ. And so now, from your perspective, from other sects, S-E-C-T-S, I'm sorry if I'm spelling it incorrectly, that's where you get the division in people.
Yeah.
Because it's more centered around, this is my line, and this is how boxed in this particular religion makes me. And it's only when you start to now see past that, so the experience you had in terms of exploring the different religions or different doctrines, where you now say, no, my one relationship with Christ is probably it trumps all of it because it spans the structure of religion, which I feel has been a huge challenge for a lot of people. I grew up Brethren Church.
Yeah.
My dad's a pastor. I grew up where women can only wear skirts and have to have their head covered in church. And so for me, I have a better relationship now with Christ, not even being involved, not because I separated myself, but I had my own journey to determine my relationship. I have a better relationship now than I've ever had in the years that I grew up with my father and being in a religious institution, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but that journey is part of who we are as men, and what we're aspiring to have, where it's less about the structure, more about how do I show up with me and my Christ, and how does that impact the people around me in a positive way. And of course, I digress a little bit. So let's go back to now high school.
Yeah.
You said on the basketball court, you're this extrovert.
Yeah.
Yourself, your demeanor as a person, you're introverted, kind of reserved, quiet, didn't really socialize a lot. Tell us a little bit more about that high school experience, or when you started to determine, how do I marry the two, sort of thing? Because there's a necessity to both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tell us a little bit about, development as a preteen, as a teenager coming up. Now you're in Jersey.
Yeah.
A different culture.
I would honestly say that in Jersey, so let me say this. The structure that I had in my religion is what I chose.
Okay.
I chose to be structured. Around high school, my parents told me, it was like, look, if you want to play, if you want to play ball, it's on you now.
Sure.
If you want to try out, it's on you. I was just like, you know what? I'm good. I was happy with what I was getting. You know what I mean? I was getting the recognition. I was getting the notoriety. I was, I wasn't being recruited or anything like that, but, I was having fun playing basketball. So I kind of found some confidence in that. And then in high school, let me start off by saying this. I was pushed into school a year early. My mom was just like, developmentally, I was ready. I was supposed to be a class of 03. But my mom made me start school early. So when I got to high school, my 9th grade year was kind of lonely. I was one of the youngest kids in my class.
Okay. It's starting to make sense.
You young, you small.
Young, I'm small.
I get it.
Don't laugh. I was 4'9", 4'9".
Going into high school?
Going into high school.
Okay.
So imagine no girls was checking for me. You know what I'm saying?
Were you getting bullied and stuff?
Nah, I wasn't getting bullied.
Okay.
4'9" going into high school?
Yeah. So
hey.
The next year when I was in 10th grade, that's where I met most of my close friends.
Okay.
Who were in the 9th grade. All of my closest friends were in the grade under me.
Because y'all the same age.
We're the same age.
Yeah.
And we just have more in common than the kids that, I was growing in school with.
Sure.
So when I met them, I kind of started to gain a little bit more confidence. I still wasn't like one of those kids who spoke a lot in class. I was doing my work, listen to the teacher. The teachers never had to say anything to me about talking. Right. You know what I mean? They probably would say something about my lack of talking, my lack of asking questions, because I was the type of kid that would ask a question when everybody left. Right. Like, I didn't understand this. You know what I'm saying? But I started to find myself a little bit more. I became that kid that was from New York. So I started to get a little bit of, kudos for that, and then,
because then on the basketball side, there's a lot of respect for point guards.
Exactly.
Like in the culture of hoops, everybody respects point guards that come from New York and you can play. So it's like
Stephon Marbury.
No, but like it was that was a popular guy at his time. But like the whole '90s was known for pushing out PGs from New York.
Yeah. So that being able to, I was real good handling the rock. I could shoot. So I became known for that. Even though I wasn't on the team, a lot of kids would come up to me and say, why didn't you try out? It's like I chose not to. It kind of shaped the rest of my journey in high school. But when I became popular, I would say I became popular around junior year. And not popular in the sense that, I had like everybody knowing me, but I mean popular in the sense that I can talk to each and every group that was in the school. Like I could hang out with, the people that were all blacks. They call them emo now. I could hang out with the smart kids. I could hang out with the
Athletes,
jocks, the
yeah,
athletes. I could hang out with everybody. Like, I knew people in each group. But the thing that kind of shaped like my legacy in high school was when I came back, I was like 5'3" junior year, and they were like throwing up alley-oops for kids to dunk, right? And I'm like, let me try this. Never tried to dunk before in my life. You know what I'm saying? But this dude threw it up there, and I went up there and I grabbed it and I put it in, and I was just hanging from the rim.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how high the rim was, you know what I'm saying? But I was hanging from it. And I remember the girls came in from gym. They was walking outside and they all saw me up there, and I was just like, yeah, I could do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I do.
I'm arrived. No.
Yeah.
So now I became as like that short kid that could jump really
could jump.
high, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I kind of just rode that wave through high school. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So you get out of high school. When is the moment for you when you like, I'm a man now?
First year of college.
And what distinctly was the difference for you?
I became a person that could be by myself and be okay with it. Like, I wasn't looking for acceptance anymore. I am who I am.
Weren't you like 18 at the time?
Yeah. Like, literally just turned 18. I turned 18 at school. But the fact that I left home, I was in DC, I was living in a dorm. My dorm mate stayed in the dorm for maybe like 2 weeks and then moved out. So I had a double bed in my dorm. So it was real nice.
What was your roommate homesick?
No, he
Or just didn't like living with you? Or?
I don't know what it was. I came back and I just saw all this stuff gone. I think he went to go live with his girl or something like that. I don't know.
Because college is a very interesting space when you're 18.
Yeah.
Trying to it's like you see people crying in the lobby who homesick. You see people don't make it past the first semester.
Man, I was
see people
not
get drunk.
It's like
I was
in my element.
in love being by myself.
Man, I was the same. I was the same way. Like when you come from nothing, like, you can't. Like I've been waiting on college for like 10 years.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was waiting on. Like my last 2 years, I thought about college. When I saw my neighborhood, I was like, I got to get up out of here. Right. Like it didn't take no life changing, life altering experience to realize you could be 8, 9 years old and realize this ain't it.
Yeah.
Like all I know is this ain't it. I got to get out of here.
You know, the crazy thing was I didn't necessarily have the plan to go to college. I felt like I went to college that first year because that's what everybody else was doing. But I did find myself. Okay. I definitely found myself in college, and it was one of those things where you kind of get dropped into this place and it's either sink or swim. You know what I mean? And I think I had 2 people there that actually went to my high school, but I wasn't like close with them. So it wasn't like me and them was hanging out. It was just like, oh, I see a familiar face. What's up? That was it. So I had to make new friends. They told me that the girls wouldn't be checking for me and stuff like that, but that wasn't true. That wasn't
what
true
a
at all.
life flex.
That wasn't true.
I love
it. Honestly, there, I feel like a lot more people knew me there and respected me there than at high school. Yeah. You know what I mean? A lot of them was just like, yo, you gonna try out for the basketball team, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna try out. And I actually didn't. And I think that kind of shaped me as a coach later on because I slept through tryouts.
How come you didn't try out?
I didn't wake up.
You didn't? Oh, you physically did?
I physically slept through. Like I had my alarm set and I was like, I'm gonna go, and I didn't wake up.
Okay.
So do you have hooper's remorse?
No, I don't. I don't have hooper's remorse because I still got a chance to show them that I was good enough.
Right.
And for me, that's all that mattered. I didn't need to be on the team. I just needed you to know that I'm good enough to be on the team. You know,
I had a similar experience in college too.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like the coach was like, "Yeah, I'm not sure if you're gonna make it on our team because we didn't recruit you. You're from Bermuda, so we don't really know if you're gonna get a score." So I was like, "All right, cool." But during like intramurals or anytime we was playing, just run pickup ball, killing guys. I was like, yeah, that was good enough for me. I'm straight.
We had a dorm tournament. I was in a freshman dorm. No one expected us to win. You know what I'm saying? So we're in a freshman dorm, and we run through, sophomores, juniors, seniors. We're just running through them. And I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I was the reason why we were winning. I'm just going to keep it real. I was the reason why we were winning. Anyone that sees this and wants to argue with me, call me.
But shout out to college intramurals.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna hold you. There's some hoopers.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are some bona fide hoopers in college that don't play on the college team. I never forget. We had to sneak because the college roster players on scholarship got special permission and access to even participate in intramural sports. So mine was always unofficial, but I was always participating. But I just had to make sure that the college coaches or the staff wasn't around when I was playing.
Yeah.
But man, one year we had tryouts for 2 walk-on spots. And there was 57 kids out in the gym for the 2 walk-on spots. There was 5 or 6 first-team All-State players, and none of them made. It was first-team All-State.
Wow.
And none of them made the team. And those guys, all of those guys and other guys was dunking, shooting threes, we're playing in intramurals, but I played in the because there was hoopers in there. I was like, bro, I want to get busy, you know what I mean? And then you running a system in college, but intramurals, you're just hooping.
Yeah.
So it's
Straight up my alley.
So it's like, bro, I get to be from a person who came from street ball. It was like
sure.
I couldn't wait to get out there because that's just pure basketball out there.
It was, man. And in that particular thing, we ended up playing in the dorm championship with the athletic dorm. So those guys who were allowed to play, you know what I mean? And we was sticking with them, man. I think we only lost by 6. And the reason why we lost is because we didn't have a coach. And my guy was just like, yo, I'm coming in the game. I'm like, who you coming in for? He said, me. I'm like, oh, okay. I sat down. We went down by 10.
Right.
Yeah.
I come back in. I'm trying to fight back. We end up losing by 6.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, at that point, I was just like, I know I'm good enough to play.
Yeah.
So I don't need your validation. I think that's what it was. I no longer needed the validation of my peers.
Yeah.
Or coaches or nothing. I knew I was good enough to play at a high level.
Right. So you come out of college, you meet your wife, you got how many children you have?
2.
As you build out the legacy for your whole family, man, as a king for your household, what does that look like? What's important to you? What you working on? What plays are you running?
I think that in my house, I think the importance is placed on making sure that you have your own. My oldest daughter already started a business. So I think it's we're pushing that. It's it's okay if you wanna do something, professionally. I think my youngest wants to do clothing design, and she said, kids have big dreams. I want to be a doctor and a lawyer and a veterinarian. I'm like, all right, yeah, it's all good. But I also want them to understand, have your own. As far as being a professional, I mean, I'm going to support you in any way, form or fashion, but I want you to understand that having your own is important. I also give them the freedom to grow. I'm not the type of parent that gets mad if you're drawing on the walls. You know what I mean? I might be, that might be the next Picasso for all I know.
Yeah.
So I saw one of my daughters literally wall upstairs, crayons everywhere. I'm like, you know what? This is your room. I don't care. Don't do it in mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that, and then I also tell them yo, and this is something I say to everybody. I'm like, kindness is free. You have to be kind. There's too much nonsense out here for you not to take every opportunity to be kind to someone.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow. And so you're a successful man of God, husband, father, entrepreneur. What you got going on in your world? How can people tap into what you're doing? Where can people follow you? How can people tap into Jason Richards, man?
I mean, my Instagram page pretty much shows my journey. It's
What's your Instagram page?
Richworks711.
There you go.
Richworks711. It shows basketball. It shows family. It shows teaching. My biggest thing is about giving back to the next generation. As far as that, I've been teaching for 7 years. I've been working with kids for almost half my life. You know what I mean? I was tutoring when I was 16. So I've just been working with kids. I love their energy. I feel like they are the type of kids are the one people on this earth that give you your energy right back.
100%.
You know what I mean? So they see you, it's like, no, I want to hug you. Can I hug you? Like, yeah, you know? And the school that I'm in, it's been an amazing journey there because I have a lot of freedom there to run things my way. No one gets in my way as far as basketball, volleyball. And I tell them, I don't really play for you to win now. I want to develop you so that when you get to high school, you're not behind. So I think I went my first year coaching volleyball. I went 0-6, but they learned. The next year we went 8-2. I'm like, that's what I want. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to get fired for losing. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So I'm all about development, man. All about development.
Well, look, man, on behalf of the Boy Man King platform, man, we honor
it's been amazing,
like you,
man.
Yeah, man. The journey continues.
Yes, sir.
Any last words you want to give the people?
Man, like I said, you know, being kind is its own reward. I'm not the type of person that say that, you know, life has to be fair, but if you can make things fair, do so. Sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. That's it, man. The Boy Man King Pod.
Yes,
the
sir.
journey continues.
Yes, sir.